North Carolina's Charles Graham is looking to swing the state's representation in Congress in 2022. The Democratic Assemblyman announced he is running for the House seat in the state's 9th district. His campaign announcement coincides with the release of a new campaign ad. The video has gone viral. It explores some of the nation's deepest divisions while reflecting on similar issues from the past.
When I was a young boy, the KKK announced a night rally in my home county. A cross burning with hundreds of Klansmen to terrorize the blacks and Lumbee. We were a poor farming community, black, white, and Indian. My parents and grandparents were sharecroppers like many. The police chief warned the Grand Dragon, "These people don't want your trouble." The Klansmen called us mongrels, half-breeds, and told him the Klan would show him how to handle people like us. That night they rode in with their cars, their crosses, and a single light bulb hooked to a car battery. 50 Klansmen. Not a bad turnout on a cold night. Problem is, they were surrounded by 400 Lumbees.
Charles Graham joins us now. He is a member of the Lumbee tribe and the only Native American in the North Carolina state legislature. He's running for Congress in the state's 9th congressional district. His campaign released that viral ad. Assemblyman Graham, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Your ad has gone viral since its release last week. Tell us how the story about the Battle of Hayes Pond in 1958 has parallels to today.
Well, thank you for having me, and let me say it's a pleasure to be on your program. I am a member of Congress, a member of the North Carolina General Assembly, serving my position for the 6 terms. Hayes Pond is a story about unity, African Americans, the Lumbee tribe fighting against hatred and bigotry. We moved from 1958 to 2021, and we see that same type of division, the same type of hatred. Those behaviors are very similar. The 1958, we unified our community, African Americans and the Lumbee. In 2021, we're seeing division across our country. My campaign, the message from 1958 is we are going to be a campaign that will work unifying as opposed to a campaign dividing, sowing seeds of mistrust. My campaign will be one that will talk about the needs of our community, our rural counties, working families, children, infrastructure, and those kinds of things that rural America needs.
And the attention, though, from your ad is causing some issues to resurface from earlier in your political career. In 2016, you voted in favor of HB 2. That's the legislation that restricts the rights of the LGBTQ+ community. You have since apologized for the matter, but there are still concerns over your voting history. What caused you to change your stance on that issue? And how will you prove that to voters in 2022?
Well, of course, my vote back in 2016, after that vote, I realized it was painful and hurtful to a segment of our population. I worked to have that legislation repealed. But what I'd like to say to you is we had a candidate in Donald Trump who stood up on the national stage and mocked verbally disabled individuals. He mocked physically disabled individuals. My reputation has been, in my professional life, has been working for those individuals as a special education teacher and a special education administrator. Now, will Donald Trump, would he apologize for mocking that population? I don't think he will. But let me say this to you. We understand what's happened since he made those very hurtful comments and gestures. Our campaign will not stand for that. We're going to work hard to support those individuals. We're going to work hard to support rural North Carolina, especially in the 9th congressional district, if that's the district we run in.
And Assemblyman Graham, you are one of the few Indigenous Americans in government. In addition, you're running as a Democrat in a right-leaning district. What are some of the greatest challenges you face in this election, and how do you plan to win over voters in the 9th District?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't see that as a challenge. I see that as an opportunity. In my district, this past election cycle, I was the only Democrat to win in my district, state races or national. I've been able to work in my district, and I'll be able to work across the district. I've been a legislator who's worked in a bipartisan way. I've reached across the aisles. I have ideas that I think will promote and people will like to hear about who I am and what I stand for. And that is what I will do in this election cycle. I don't see this as a challenge. I see this as an opportunity to present myself as a candidate for working families, and that's going to be our mission. We're going to unite. We're going to use the support that we have generated as a result of this rollout, and we're going to propel our campaign forward with a positive message. And of course, folks on the right would like to divide and put out information that's not truthful. It's not good for our families. It's not good for our democracy. So Charles Graham will work in a positive way to become a congressman in the upcoming 2022 election cycle. That's going to be our message.
And Assemblyman, many of our viewers who follow local politics closely remember the 9th District is at the center of a widespread election fraud scandal back in 2018. What are some of the lingering impacts on the district in the wake of that scandal? And is it impacting the way you have to go about campaigning?
Well, we know, Tanya, that voting rights, the opportunity to go to the polls is something that we hold dear to our heart. That election cycle, you know, the people on the right are talking about voter fraud, voter suppression. Well, let me set the record straight. It was the Republicans during that particular period of time who were indicted, and it's been proven that they were manufacturing and harvesting votes. The reality of the situation now is they are promoting voter suppression. They understand that individuals who are determined to vote will go out and vote. We saw that during this COVID. We saw the turnout. They're not pleased with that. So what the right is trying to do, and actually been successful in states across this country, is to do and to utilize their base to promote policies that will, of course, damage our ability to, and people of color especially, to go out to the polls and vote. So they have a history. Democrats are going to go to the polls. We're united. We understand what's at stake.
Assemblyman Charles Graham, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.